Hey, fabulous souls, welcome to my unwavering thoughts. Here, we're all about growing, thriving, becoming our best selves inside and out. It is also about leveling up, whether it's how we treat ourselves, others, and just life in general. So, join me on this podcast as I share my thoughts on personal growth, self love, seeing yourself the way God sees you, my rookie tips on life, relationships, and of course, love. Let's grow together. Hi, fabulous souls. Welcome back to my Raving Thoughts. I'm your host, Oman Damati, and I'm so grateful to have you here with me today. If you're new here, welcome. This is a space where we dig deep, explore life's complexities, and find meaning in the everyday moments that shape us into who we are. And yeah, you're welcome. So today's episode is one I think we can all relate to, whether we are going through something right now or have gone through something in the past. We're going to be talking about navigating turning points. By the way, I have a short film coming up soon titled Turning Points. Anyway, it kind of inspired this topic that I'm talking about right now, but basically you will get the hang of it later. Stay tuned to watch the film. More information will come out soon about that. But however, those moments, the moments or the times when life presents you with a crossroad, a major decision, or a shift so significant that it feels that everything is about to change or to take a new turn. Turning points could be anything from changing careers, making a big move, ending or beginning a new relationship, or even a moment of personal or spiritual transformation. These are the moments that test us, challenge us, and ultimately shape us into who we're meant to be. They are they are usually very uncomfortable, sometimes even painful, but also hold the potential for incredible growth. And of course, as me personally, I have since I'm a person of faith, I believe that God is present in each of these turning points, whether we can see it in the moment or only recognize it in hindsight. I believe that God guides us through these pivotal moments in our lives, helping us learn, grow, and become more of who we are meant to become. So, if you're at a turning point in your life or have recently gone through one or come through one, or if you just want to feel a little more prepared for the next one, I hope you find comfort and encouragement in today's episode. Basically, this conversation, I hope it encourages you even way more than I imagine because it's personal to me. In fact, every episode is personal to me. So, but stick around and listen. So, let's start with talking about what makes turning points so challenging. I think one of the biggest reasons is that turning points often bring uncertainty, and I know how uncomfortable being uncertain about things is or are. When you're at a crossroad where there's usually no way of knowing, for sure what's on the other side of your decision. You might be leaving behind something familiar and stepping into the unknown, and that can feel terrifying. I would like to use a story personal to me, how I was working at a tech company as a cloud support engineer, and I was leaving that comfort. It came with a lot of comfort, I'm not even going to lie. I wouldn't have to use public transportation. There was like a private bus for us at every time. The only downside is waking up by 4 a.m. to get ready and all that. I know how terrifying that was, but I was leaving something so comfortable to go for a job that was, different, because I wanted to be in the creative space. So I got a job at a film school where I attended my own film school as a producer, and I was going to teach students to be producers even when I've not produced anything in a while. So it was a bit uncertain for me, and I was scared. I spoke to God about it a lot, prayed about it, and then when eventually clicked, I was like, oh God, I don't know if this is the right thing to do, but I'm going to go head on. And in the process, I still lost my job after 8 months. It sounds crazy, right? I know, yeah, it sounds crazy. So in that moment, there was this element of loss. Even if Even if I knew I was excited about a new direction, there is often a part of me, there was a part of me that grieved what I was leaving behind. Maybe it's the comfort of the fact that I had a boss. So just the comfort of a stable job, the familiarity of a place I have lived, I've stayed in for so long, and then I'm just open to leave. It could be the same for you. It could be that you're leaving the confines or the comfort of your father's house or a stable job, the familiarity of a place you've lived in for a long time, or even an identity that you've held on to for a long time. Letting go of these things can feel like letting go of a piece of yourself. I agree. It's hard. I agree. But here's what I've come to realize: turning points are necessary for growth. And I'm big on growth. Just as a seed has to crack open to grow into a plant, we sometimes have to let go of where we are to step into who we're becoming. And I believe that God, in His infinite wisdom, allows these moments into our lives just because He sees the potential they hold into molding us into who we are meant to be. He sees the person we can become on the other side of this change, and He walks with us through it all, like through the process, through the journey, and even when it feels hard and very uneasy and confusing. Now, if you're facing a turning point, one of the first things I encourage you to do is to take it to God. Lay it at His feet. It could be that He wants you to move, yes. It could be that you make a horrible mistake there, but He knows that this is going to be crucial for your growth, so He's sending you there. But make sure that you shall talk to your maker, talk to God about it. I know that might sound simple or obvious, but it's easy to overlook and like not try to heed the voice of God, what He's telling you to do. And it's important that we obey, so we will know how to navigate it. So when we're anxious or overwhelmed, our first instinct is often to try to figure out things on our own, or figure out everything on our own. We make pros and cons lists. We consult friends for validation and family, and we try to map out every possible outcome. But sometimes what we really need is to pause and bring our questions, fears, and desires before God, laying it at His feet, praying about it, asking for wisdom, for clarity, and for peace. Ask God to reveal the path that aligns with His purpose for you. Truly, I truly believe that when we seek God's guidance, He provides it in ways that we don't even imagine, but maybe not always in the way that we expect, but in the way that we need. One of my favorite verses when I'm facing a turning point is Proverbs 3 verse 5 to 6, which says, trust. This is my favorite verse, my favorite Bible text. I have a lot of favorite, but this is one of my favorite. Proverbs 3 verse 5 to 6 says that trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge Him, and He will direct your path. This verse reminds me that I don't have to have it all figured out. I just need to trust that God knows what He is doing, even if I don't understand it in the moment. Another important thing to remember about turning points is that they are not just about the decision you make. They are about the person you become in the process. Turning points, often bring up a lot of emotions: fear, anxiety, excitement, doubt, hope, happiness sometimes, and navigating these emotions can be just as transformative as the actual outcome. So for example, let's say you're considering a career change. Not like mine, maybe like mine, but on the surface, it might seem like the main challenge is deciding whether to stay in your current job or to pursue something new. But underneath that decision, there might be deeper questions like, what do I really value? What do I want what do I want my life to stand for? Am I willing to take risks to pursue my passion? In this way, the turning points push us to confront our own beliefs, fear, and desires. For example, when I was leaving the tech space, I asked myself these questions. I had to think to myself, why am I leaving this place? Is it that I can't do this job, or is it because I don't find fulfillment in this job that I'm doing as a cloud support engineer. And I realized that I didn't find fulfillment. I was so unhappy with myself. I was almost depressed. There was so much going on. It was not aligning with my value, what I wanted to stand for. And, I just wanted to have a bit more creative freedom. I didn't want to be caught in the matrix of working like a rat every day. I wanted to have the freedom to make my own film, be part of a film project. Just those things made me happy, and I was willing to risk everything for that. And even if it was scary, I still went for it. Even if things are not going great, I just know that there's something for me in front. I don't know what it is, but I believe that God uses these moments to refine us, just like a piece of clay being molded on a potter's wheel. We are being shaped through these decisions. God allows us to wrestle with these questions because He knows that through this process, we become stronger, we become wiser, and more aligned with His purpose for us. So if you're facing a turning point in your life, try to see it as an invitation to grow, not just in the outcome, but in who you are becoming along the way. So one thing that has really helped me navigate turning points is learning to let go of the need for control. I remember when I was talking about in my recent podcast, The Art of Letting Go, how I spoke about control. It's an illusion, and I want you to understand that this is something I think a lot of us struggle with, especially when we are facing a big decision or change. We want to have everything planned out, to know exactly what's going on and what's going to happen, and to make sure that we are taking the right path, right? I'm obsessed with, oh God, am I on the right path? What am I doing in my life? But the truth is that life is unpredictable. There is only so much we can control, and sometimes holding on too tightly to our plans or expectations only leads to more stress and frustration. When we let go and allow God to lead, we open ourselves up to possibilities that we might never have considered on our own. Letting go doesn't mean we stop caring about or stop putting in effort. It just means that we release the need to know every detail. We trust that even if things don't go according to our plan, they are still unfolding according to God's plan. And I think there is something incredibly freeing about that. It allows us to move forward with courage and peace, even when we don't have all the answers. Now, let's talk about the concept of faith over fear. Turning points often bring up a lot of fear, and the fear of the unknown, the fear of failure, the fear of making the wrong choice. But faith reminds us that we don't have to navigate these moments alone. When we choose faith over fear, we're saying, I may not know what's coming, I might not know what's coming next, but I trust that God does, and I go leave am for your hand. Anyhow we want run, I make you run am. And here's the thing about faith. It doesn't mean the fear completely goes away. It just means that we choose to move forward in spite of it. It means we acknowledge the fear, but we don't let it control us to the point of the point of losing faith. We put our trust in God's hands, knowing that He is with us at every step of the way. When we have found strength in my faith, or when we have tried to strengthen my faith during turning points in my life, is to look back on past experiences. So now I'm going to put that to you. Think about other turning points you've faced in your life. Chances are, even if they were difficult at the time, they taught you something valuable or led you to where you are now. Remembering how God has been faithful in the past can give us the courage to trust Him in the present. There are times where I used to crack my head about certain things, like, what is going on? How am I going to get out of this situation? How am I going to make, I just try to think about it. But when I think about it, I'm like, oh wow, God actually helped me through that, and here I am with a new problem. Life problem no dey finish, but I hope you know that. So finally, I want to talk about embracing the unknown. Turning points often bring us to uncharted territory. I say this for a reason, where it's like we're stepping into something new, something we haven't done in our lives before, and that can feel very unsettling. But sometimes the most beautiful moments of growth come when we're willing to step outside of our comfort zones. When we embrace the unknown, we open ourselves to growth, to new experiences, and to the possibility of discovering more about ourselves and God's purpose for our lives. And yeah, it can be scary, but it can also be incredibly rewarding. Embracing the unknown is about saying, I don't know what is next, but I'm willing to trust to take it one step at a time and believe that God is guiding me. Remember, turning points are part of life's journey. There are moments that challenge us, shape us, and bring us closer to God and also help us grow. And while they may be difficult in the moment, they are often the very experiences that lead us to a deeper understanding of our faith, of ourselves, and of God as well. So, if I'd just like to say that if you're at a turning point or at a crossroad right now, I want to encourage you to take a deep breath. So, if you're at a turning point right now or you're at a crossroad, I want to encourage you to take a deep breath. Bring your worries to God and trust that He's walking this journey with you. You're not alone. You don't have to have it all figured out or have all the answers. You don't have to know exactly where you're going. Just take it one step at a time. Lean on your faith and remember that God has a purpose for every season of your life, even the challenging ones. Thank you so much for joining me today on My Unwavering Thoughts. I hope this episode has brought you a sense of peace and encouragement, and maybe even a little more confidence in facing the turning points in your life. Remember, every decision, every change, brings you closer to God and helps us grow as individuals. Thank you for tuning in. Ensure you follow and leave a comment so I can know your thought process regarding this topic. We are always here every Saturday by 6 p.m. and I really do hope that you enjoy this podcast. Thank you so much for being here with me. This is Amanda Matisani Ives. Bye.